One of the things you'll understand if you ever have bought a console is timing can be everything. You're one of the few people that have begged to get a console from a parent or something. You've all been there. You know that there's just gonna be an inevitable price drop, especially down the road. But one of the things I've learned is when it comes to buying consoles is the power of waiting. And look, I know it's not hard to buy the newest Mario Kart game. I bet it's gonna sell like hotcakes no matter what. I low-key really want the new Donkey Kong game. Where's Diddy Kong? I don't know. But I don't know, did they take him around back? I hope not. But he's my favorite Donkey Kong character, okay? I hope he's in the game. Don't mess up his design though. Why is Cranky Kong the same but not Donkey Kong? Okay. Just know if you're buying a console at launch, you're probably going to make one of the dumbest decisions that you can possibly make as a consumer, because inevitably there is going to be a price drop at some point. If you're going to be buying it at these more expensive prices, you might have to deal with a scalper, which no one wants to deal with that. So if you know the commonality of buying a console at launch, it is price. And we've all seen the consoles at launch. They can cost more in this initial time period when they come out than they do later. And if you look, we've seen some hilarious console pricing, at least even when they're announced and they end up being so bad that they actually have to drop these prices eventually. Look no further than the PS3. I mean, just, you want to pay $500 for this thing? Or don't forget when the Xbox One had one of the cringiest launches of all time where they put DRM and they thought we were gonna watch TV all day. Not yet, but they were close to that. Now, if you look at the Nintendo 3DS, it's probably one of the best handhelds of all time, and even the console flopped when it first came out, which is pretty funny looking back. And in perspective, one of Nintendo's flagship consoles would still actively supporting to this very day, which shows that it's made that much money. This is a very successful console, and yet during launch it did not do well. So you would strike out if you'd have to pay $100 more for games, and it wasn't really that good yet. I mean, if you were a dummy like me, you paid $100 more in the initial launch period for the 3DS, and you had even less games. Do you guys remember when the Resident Evil game had misspelled cartridge on it? Like, it was a weird time, okay? The 3DS did not have the best launch at all. It was pretty rocky, and a lot of people thought it was going to flop because of its launch, but it ended up recovering very well. The exact opposite of this is the Wii-U. This was actually a harder console to get at launch for me personally. As I'm saying this, I was just actively trying to find this godforsaken thing. I know, in the early months when it came out, there was a little bit of a hype cycle for it, and then it quickly died off for obvious reasons. I mean, who wants to buy this dust collector at this point? I could not find a single one when I was trying to get it. Even if you wanted to find the console, you had to go on eBay and go purchase it for double the price. Companies purposefully don't produce enough of their consoles when they come out, so then that's why they obviously go up in value. And gee, I wonder if scalpers are just gonna love this high point right here. Yeah, it's like almost history repeats itself.
This video is sponsored by ENEBA. ENEBA.com is a gaming marketplace with over 40,000 digital products and is continuously expanding to become your go-to platform for your gaming needs. ENEBA.com offers the hottest deals on any title, old or new. There's discounts for games like Red Dead Redemption 2 to Minecraft to Mario Odyssey, Fortnite. They really care about customer satisfaction by offering 24/7 live support to resolve any concerns regarding a purchase. Whether you're a PC gamer or you prefer consoles, ENEBA has you covered. Use the link down below to get started with ENEBA.
Now, for amiibos back in the day, they were not projected to actually do well. I actually really wanted the Robin amiibo because he's my favorite Fire Emblem Awakening character, and lo and behold, no longer, as he was actually just, if you wanted to get the Robin amiibo, Nintendo printed so few of them. Good luck with that. There was plenty of amiibo that just were not produced enough, and they were incredibly rare because of this. So the really popular characters were really easy to get, while the more niche ones were impossible to get. And amiibos actually could unlock some content you could actually add to your games. For example, like Marth. You couldn't actually get Marth in this time period because it was very, very sketchy, just difficult to do. I know amiibos are technically not console related, but they do go hand in hand. If you wanted to get your favorite Smash character as an amiibo, it was like going on a quest for I don't even know what. It was just the weirdest time. There was a high level of scarcity behind each of the products. If you waited on release date to get these amiibo, you would see a line out the door, and it was actually almost like a game release, but it was just for, an amiibo. So here I was waiting in line. This was like almost 10 years ago at this point, waiting in line for the Robin amiibo. And if you guessed, yes, there was a line out the door. I was in actually the middle of the line, and apparently there was many people in front of me. I heard their conversations, and one of them brought up that they were going to buy all the Lucina and Robin amiibos and then just sell the scraps on eBay. They were already making their plan to get everything that was there. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. There might have been like a one amiibo per customer, but they were all friends, so they all were able to get one for themselves. And then they just basically hustled them, sold them on eBay for probably 3 times the price. They honestly looked like the type of people that probably lived in their mom's basement, and they probably did, but they smelled horrible. I remember it all distinctively. But yes, they were talking about how, I don't know, Lucina was their waifu. It was the weirdest conversation I've ever seen in a lineup. Just know that scalpers suck, okay? Especially if you do it like this. I was in the middle of the line and I actually did not get any of the amiibo that I wanted. I was lucky to get like some of the uncommon amiibo that released that day. That was basically it. Sometimes consoles can be that level of rare when they come out, and I know I just talked about an amiibo peripheral, but don't forget the PlayStation 5 was incredibly difficult to get for a long period of time. Even the Xbox One was also hard to get. And the reason why I'm saying this is just to be a bit smarter as consumers and don't buy into the inflated hype. That Marth amiibo that I mentioned earlier, I no joke saw one at an inflated price on eBay that was hundreds of dollars. And then one day I could go on Black Friday, a couple years later when the amiibo hype died down, and I go to Best Buy and there's an entire shelf of Marth amiibo literally right in front of my eyes. And I was like, wow, I remember seeing that stuff for at least $300+. And here it is, regular price, like a normal product should be. I was like, whoa, I thought I was looking at liquid gold for a second. So gaming, it's just a lot difficult as a medium to get into now, especially if you want to buy these things at launch. I think there's going to be problems when it comes to downloading this content to your consoles and buying stuff. There's going to be a lot of people doing this stuff at once. Launch titles and price are extremely important if you're trying to invest in a console at launch. It's really the selling point behind buying them so early. You could sit at home and watch Netflix or twiddle your thumbs, or you could just, use your phone and swipe endlessly on, I don't know, Fruit Ninja or something. There's so many options out there when it comes to gaming, so if the cost of the next entry is going to become more and more expensive, then people are just going to be looking for other options. I actually do believe the next Mario Kart game is probably going to sell well. The real question is it going to meet their expectations? I personally am probably not going to buy the Switch 2 at launch for this reason, as I don't really want to set the trend of buying consoles for this price, and also the games alone are also just, well, what's the point of this being this much? I don't know. If you want to buy the Switch 2, that's perfectly fine, but in my opinion, I think buying a console at launch is usually the worst decision because of just the amount of mayhem that you're going to have to deal with. And personally, I think if you wait a little bit longer, you'll get better games. Maybe the price of certain things might go down. I actually did not buy the original Switch until Smash Ultimate came out. So I actually waited a decent amount of time until I legitimately got what I actually wanted for the console. And I could have gotten it beforehand, but I really wasn't sold on it that much. So I'm a real believer on just waiting. The jump from $60 to $70 to $90 is actually pretty insane too. I don't really want to buy something where I'm kind of setting the precedent of what games are probably going to cost in the future, because if Mario Kart sells well, you bet every company is going to see this and follow suit. I can't wait to put down a down payment for GTA 6 though. That's going to be great. The real thing is, I just don't see the point of buying a console so expensive. The games actually look good, but the cost of them is just, it's definitely going to box some people out. This could all just mean nothing though if the Switch 2 actually does really well no matter what. That does end up happening, then Nintendo is definitely going to get the W there. Wait it out, kick back, wait for all this stuff to really ease itself out, and then see if the price actually does change. Don't be like me and pay for a 3DS at launch, or don't be like me trying to find a Wii U a couple months after it came out on eBay, because you're going to be paying for an inflated price. I think the Switch 2 can still possibly succeed even with all this controversy surrounding it, but I think if you wait it out as a consumer, you're going to get the best bang for your buck down the road. So I'm sure the console can build a strong library and maybe have a price drop, and then people would be less angry about the overall price. And yes, I know there is a bundle for Mario Kart, but honestly, I feel like that bundle is going to be impossible to get. And yeah, it is cool that it's like slightly less money, but again, it's Nintendo. They're probably not going to produce enough of that bundle. That's my guess. They usually never do unless, the console's doing bad. And also, if you look back in the past years, Nintendo was teeing up for raising the price eventually. If you look at Tears of the Kingdom, they actually knew Zelda could sell so many copies that raising the price on this was not really going to affect consumers that much, and that's exactly what happened. Tears of the Kingdom did very well. And Mario as an IP is a great way to launch a system, so that's why starting with Mario Kart was probably what they always intended to do. Yeah, everyone's going to buy Mario Kart. I mean, duh, right? But they want to see if people are going to buy it for this heavily inflated price. That could possibly be more because of the tariffs. I don't know, but sure, it can be a factor, but Nintendo has been wanting to increase the price since Tears of the Kingdom. It's been something that the whole industry has been really whispering about. I say just wait it out. That's my 2 cents on when it comes to the console pricing and the overall Switch 2 launch as a whole. Just wait and see what happens. Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe. Take care. Have a good one.